What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday. You know what that means. It's 3 days after Monday. God forbid I did one of these on time. I immediately set up a schedule and I immediately do it wrong. Guess what we're doing today? We're getting into the wild. We're wilding out right now. I've got a great build for this deck. This thing is grits and gravy. It digs its way out of trouble. I will tell you that much. This is a freaking ditch digger. It is going to get you out of all sorts of jams and just get you into some wins. I'll tell you that. It takes a little while. It takes a little while with this deck. It takes a little bit of time to get there. But it's a pretty sweet deck. I enjoy it quite a bit. Looking at the curve, it is pretty beautiful. Let's jump up here, upstairs, and take a look at some of the cards that we are not running. And then we will go downstairs and take a look at what our 60 actually entails, because it is gorgeous. Alright, so going through these real quickly, we've got Bond Beetle up here. This card is tempting, especially to a lot of new players. I think would be really intoxicated with this card's presumable power, especially in this build, or in the stock build of this deck. It's going to be a one-drop chump blocker in a lot of scenarios. It's also going to pump somebody else. There's a lot of good things going on in this card for like tabletop play, non-competitive play, but it can't make the cut. It is just not strong enough. A lot of times the 1/1 isn't going to be enough. It doesn't have flash. If this guy had flash, damn, he would damn near be playable in this deck. Flash would be amazing on this guy. You know, the instant 1/1 would be pretty good, but as it stands now, you're telegraphing your punches a little too much. He's a little too slow and clunky for me, and he's only an 0/1 on the face of him, so he's not super useful on his own. Moving right on, we got Jiraga the Warcaller. This guy's an elf warrior with a multi-kick. He kicks all over the place. Look at him, he's running on a freaking tree, all sideways and shit. He's obviously got kick of a mighty giant. But he just doesn't have a lot to do in this deck. There ain't a whole lot of elves running around. We don't have enough time for this guy, really. He's a 1/1 sometimes, which just makes you sad. And really, there's not a whole lot of other elves that we have that are going to make this guy playable in this deck, especially in my build. There are other elves, don't get me wrong. He's just not what we want to be doing in this deck. We'll come on over to Taunting Elf. This guy's a freaking home run hitter, but we only need one of them. We'll talk about why he's good in a minute, but why one of them is bad is because one in the 60 is going to win me a game. I don't really need more than that. Moving on to rings. We don't run rings because they say ring in them. Once again, just not great, not going to make the cut. Trample's nice. This is one of the better rings because it gives trample. Trample, hexproof, all of them give good things. It's just this rings are too slow in the format. There's too much kill. There's too much kill available to your opponent that most of the time is going to make the ring just a dead turn for you, or multiple dead turns if you go to equip it and then you do not have enough mana left over to cast the creature or a big enough creature that you would have otherwise. So ring, just not fantastic. Awakener Druid is just bad. It is not good to have a 4/5 forest out there because the forest is still going to be tapping to produce mana. A lot of times people will play this turn 3, so they'll have a tapped 4/5 out, which isn't great. I mean, this guy's pretty good like turn 4 because you'll have a 4/5 that essentially has haste because it'll, you know, give you that tree folk that'll come in. But even then, it's not great. Plus, they can murder your lands at that point. And not even just murder. There's tons of removal in the format that they just get rid of a land and a creature. And then this guy's a 1/1 for 3. So he's just not great in this or any other pile. Great art, though. Really cool art. Caller of the Claw is not what I want to be doing in this pile either. If we looked at the cards that we have in the 60, a lot of times, all that this guy is going to be doing early game is replacing some of our 1/1s with 2/2s. That's not a great increase. If I wanted to just give a guy +1/+1, I'd run Bond Beetle for shit's sake. This dude does have flash, so he can get tricky. You can get a bunch of 2/2s, do some double blocks, do some stuff like that. So he does lend himself over, I think it's a she. She does lend herself over to some trickery, which I do love, and which is the main call of this deck, is going to be tricking your opponent. But it's just not really worth it in the long run to run this guy. Because early game, he's just buffing your guys a little bit. Mid-game, he's going to be, you know, taking them down a bit, if not just swapping them out for 2/2s. In late game, he's just ridiculously useless because it's going to be coming in and swapping out, what, like a 7/7 you lost for a 2/2 now. So it's just not what I want to be doing on any of my turns, on their turn, any of this. It does have flash, which is interesting, but it's just not making the cut. Manaplasm doesn't say trample on it, and that's this one's biggest problem. Also, there's not enough. Once again, I'm going to say flash a lot, and you're going to disagree with the card that I take out, actually, because I'm saying it so much. But this is pretty much main phase pumps. It's just not great to me. To have to main phase pump something is not that great. He doesn't trample either, so you're not going to get too tricky with him. Both of them are upstairs. This card's just not that great. He's got trample, which is what we want to see, but we don't want a 2/2 for 3. We don't really need multiple 2/2s for 3. They're going to block this guy down and kill him easily. Force Mage doesn't have flash either, and I like my pumps to be tricky. Like I said, this guy is just not going to make the cut because his pump is a little minuscule. He doesn't have that great of a body on him to begin with, and we're not going to be able to trick anybody using him. Moving on to Ambassador Oak. This guy brings a freaking buddy, but the buddy system is not enough to get into this deck. We've got 2 of these guys upstairs because dropping a 3/3 and a 1/1 on turn 4 is just not what I want to be doing in my life in this deck. I have better 4-drops to run. We'll talk about them in a minute, but this guy doesn't make the cut simply because his slot, if we look at the mana curve right now, his slot is already full. I do not need these 2 guys in there taking up space, making 1/1s that aren't going to matter in combat at this stage. Moving right into Briar Pack Alpha. Now this thing is sick because it's got that word that I've been looking for in all my pump spells, Flasharoo. It's a +2/+2. It's a 3/3 body. Mainly this is upstairs because I only need 1 copy in the 60. Herdnar is terrible. I don't even want to talk about this card. It's just not good. Main phase pumps, no trample. We've talked about why that's not bad, not to mention the fact that on turn 4 you were laying a 2/2 if you don't have anybody else to play, and it doesn't even matter because he doesn't have like haste or anything. So you lay your 2/2, they swing in, you end up being in a position where you have to block with this loser. Not great. No, not great. Momentous Fall, I personally love this freaking card. Momentous Fall is sick to me. I mean, it's got a lot of the trappings that I love. Let's see, let's just read what we're doing here. Instant life gain, that's pretty good to me, because if they swing all out for some kind of Alpha Strike BS, I can sacrifice even just a little dude, like a little 2/2 or a 1/1 for that matter. If they were Stevensing me, I can sacrifice a damn 1/1, gain that 1 point of life, and hopefully kill them on the swing back. That alone is awesome to me. But this card also has you draw cards, which is super dangerous in green. You always want to be drawing cards. Unfortunately, I just do not have the space for this card because it's not a creature spell. It's, you know, sorcery instant category, so it's just not something that I want to be doing. I can't bounce it. I can't get super tricky with it. It's a great card. I want to play it. I mean, look, this guy's freaking just brought down an Eldrazi. He's all basking in the light, halo of light shining out of him, but it's just not good enough for this pile. You'll see why. You'll see why. Permadox, all 4 of these SOBs are upstairs. Let me tell you about this guy is that 90% of the time that I see him played, he is just played simply to be a blocker. Like, they will have no other creatures because I killed them all. They will have nobody else. They will drop this guy and they will frown. They will look, I can feel their frown through the TV. They're just staring at the TV frowning because they know at their upkeep this guy bounces himself back into your hand. He is not worth it. He's just not good enough. He's too unpredictable. We have better bounce cards available in this pile that are slightly less vulnerable to removal. So this guy is definitely not something that I want to waste my time doing. And here's the card where I can already feel the hatred seeping through the computer because I've said this word so many times. Flash. And this chick gives our guys flash. But this is a weak combo piece for a combo that does not win me the game. I know flash is powerful. I know if I have her out, flash would be dope nuts. But I have 1 copy of her. 1 copy of her. And this card by itself does nothing for me. And like I said, I took out all the cards that would be great with flash, but bad otherwise. And that's my main problem with Yeva in this deck. There are some very interesting things currently going on with her in Standard. A couple of deck lists that you might have missed that are kind of cool with her. But in this particular deck, she's just not doing it for me because the cards that would be great with Flash are terrible without it. And one copy of her is not enough to make me feel secure in playing a shitty card that could be good after turn 4. So Yeva's out. She's just not good enough. Like I said, I got better things to do turn 4. I got 8 better things to do than cast Yeva. Now this broke my freaking heart because I love Acidic Slime. Acidic Slime is amazing. It has got so many words on it that I love. Number 1, to be honest with you, being Death Touch. Now, I love a removal spell, and this is Clunks and Bumps removal, but a 2/2 Death Toucher is nothing to frown at. Not to mention the fact that you are going to get in for some damage with this 2/2 body simply because it has Death Touch. People are terrified to block Death Touch creatures, and they will let you deal a ton of damage to them to not lose one of their guys. The second thing, and the thing that really makes Acidic Slime fantastic, like one of my freaking favorite cards in the game right now, is that when he enters the battlefield, he destroys something. Artifact, enchantment, land, everything but a creature. And this guy, to be honest with you, is even better now after all the deck packs have been released than he was originally. Originally, this guy came down, maybe slowed him down a turn, maybe busted Panoptic Mirror or something, which was amazing. But, you know, if you weren't facing somebody like that, really all you were doing on turn 5, maybe 4 if you're lucky, was laying this guy and slowing them down just a turn. Which I will say in this deck can be enough to clinch a pretty impressive victory. But now this card is insane because of the amount of dual color decks that we have out there. This guy is nuts because he comes down turn 4 at the earliest if you're lucky, like I said, but even on turn 5 he can come down and completely decimate our opponent's plan if we destroy the right land with him. And I think we've seen that time and time again. One of the best things I can ever say that happened when I was playtesting this was that I was facing Multicultural Pals, the 5 color, and dude lays 1 land and he tutors up, doesn't get the land with the tutor. I Beast Within his only forest. He lays 1 more forest on about turn 4. Then he runs and grabs 2 lands. Both of the lands he grabs are swamps. Very overconfident on his part, if you ask me. But that meant that, you know, we passed to my turn. It's my turn 5. I lay down a freaking beautiful play where I destroy his other forest, and he just got wrecked. Now that is just amazing to me. Might even post that if it's just kind of footage. I don't know if recording was really working or not right then, because I was out sick. But really just an awesome match, and that's the kind of tricks that you can do with the Acidic Slime. That just kind of illustrates how much better this guy is now than he even used to be. Lurking Predators is just not good. It's not something I want to waste my time doing. Basically, all this card says to me is take Overrun and put it on the bottom of your pile. That's not what I want to do. Primordial Sage, I got a better dude that draws cards, and he ain't even in the deck. So, nope. And here he is, Soul the Harvest. This guy's better because he reads Trample on him. Trample's awesome. But he's not in the pile just because I don't have room. I don't want to have late drops that pretty much just let me get other stuff. If he was a 4-drop, 4/4 maybe, that let you draw a card, or, you know, maybe. If he still had Trample, I might still run him just to be silly. But he's just not powerful enough, not quick enough. He's powerful enough. He's not quick enough for this deck's build. We've got Wild Pair. We've got 3 of them up here. I don't want to run any of these. It's too little, too late. Sure, you're going to be able to do a lot of stuff. You're going to be able to get, you know, multiple spiders out, kill multiple flyers, multiple acidic slimes, but it's a dead turn. I should be on the cusp of winning at this point. This is a little bit of a longer play deck. It's going to take a little bit longer to charge up and get those wins in, but I don't want to be doing this at that point. Wormy Recoil doesn't say Trample on it, so I don't give a shit about it. Pelican Worm does say Trample, but I've got a whole different 7-drop that works in a much different way. One Pelican Worm was in here off and on, you know, while I was unlocking it, while I was playtesting with it, but did not make the cut because I've got other things to do late game. Gigantomancer is bad because you need 9 friggin' mana for him to do anything this late in the game. For that much mana, you know me, I do not play anything this expensive to begin with, but it damn well better win me the game if it costs this much, and this guy just doesn't cut it. Terrestrarastadon doesn't say trample anywhere on there, and 9 times out of 10 people will play this, and they will bust their own lands, because that's pretty much the only option you have. They'll play it, bust their own lands, and then somebody's like Wrath of God, and you're like, yeah, that seems pretty good. So, not a good card. You're going to trick yourself more than you're going to trick your opponent. And if you bust their lands, they got a bunch of 3/3s. Not fantastic. Not fantastic. Because they can literally use all the 3/3s to triple block this guy and kill him. Like, you might have a pump. That's not really a great play, but still, not a great card. We got Decree Savagery, costs too damn much. It has Cycling for still too damn much. And then we have Primal Surge. This card is awesome, actually. It's crazy. To me that this card exists. It's just so funny to watch this thing hit the table and resolve, but we've got too many cards that just fizzle it. Like, I cannot imagine having this thing hit on like turn 12 and you're just desperate. You're like, please, anything, anything. It hits and we get freaking giant bear growth out of the deal. That would be heart-wrenching, and I don't want that in my life. Giant Growth's in the pile because it's freaking Giant Growth. If you're not running it, I feel bad for you because you probably don't have as good a deck as you could. We've got Taunting Elf. Like I was saying, this guy can win me the game because if I have lethal on the board, Taunting Elf swings in, you have to block him. You do not get an option. Not to mention the fact that if you can pump Taunting Elf, you can get rid of some flyers early game too. There has been more than one occasion where I have a Taunting Elf and like one of these dudes on the field, and I'm like, I've got a bunch of flyers. I don't have a whole lot of options to interact with flying either. So I just got to strap up Taunting Elf and send him in combat. Have him kill some of these 1/1 flyers. Just boom, boom, boom. Kill 3 of those sons of bitches because they have to block him, and I can give him 3 in the front. So that's pretty tricky. You can do tons of tricks with this guy. He is a trooper. One of the only reasons running Ring is good at all. Like, if you have Taunting Elf in a ring out, and you can put that on him, you know, as early as possible, on turn 3, he has a ring equipped to him, you can get all sorts of tricky with that, and that's pretty fun. But again, you know, eggs and baskets. You got too much going on onto one card. It's a little scary for me. Elvish Visionary, we were running the full pack that they give you. All 3 of these guys, because this guy is amazing. Comes down as a 1/1 every time. That is a grade A chump blocker in my opinion. Not only that, but he replaces himself with another card out of your deck. No better feeling than dropping this guy turn 2 and drawing one of our other elf pals, which we'll talk about in a minute, with him being able to play that next turn. So Visionary is just fantastic. Run all 3 of them. Love drawing cards. And I don't hate a 1/1 body, to be honest with you. Fauna Shaman is sick. This guy is going to allow us to ditch any creature card that we have and grab any creature out of our deck. This guy's fantastic. 9 times out of 10, I'm grabbing the Vengevine because that's an early card. Don't get overly ambitious. Do not grab your super late drops like your turn 7s. Because you don't have that mana out and you don't know that you'll get to that point. Get your faster stuff. Get your Vengevines. That's a 4-drop haster. That is worth grabbing. I mean, they know that it's in your hand, so they can play around it a little bit, but it's still a very aggressive card, and you want to be more aggressive with Fauna Shaman if she comes out early than kind of this plot ahead type of thing that you could get suckered into. We've got Thornwheel Archer. This guy is amazing because he kills everything. He kills flyers. He's one of the few things that interacts with flyers in the deck because he's got reach. And no matter what they are in the ass, he's going to kill them because he's got the D-touch. This guy's amazing. If they don't have first strike, he'll get in on the ground every once in a while. Don't get cocky though, because a lot of people know to kill this guy early on. Because even late game, he is sickening to have out. You know, you got so many cards in the format that are flying that can just bash you about the face and eyes. And this guy puts a stop to them immediately. Run both of them in this pile. Beast Within, that is solid removal. I run all 3. Just be mindful, don't give them a 3/3 for no reason. Make sure that you have a reason to drop the Beast Within. and that's when you do it. You can also get a little tricky. You can beast within one of your 1/1s if you wanted to surprise block something. That is a thing, but it's not really a great use to beast within because you can beast one of their big, huge guys, which is really where this card shines. We've got Carvin Curry Titties. This card's got Defender, which I know I don't usually run a Defender, but it is a 3-drop that holds down the fort. You're going to drop this guy against Goopily Goblins, and you are just going to shut them down completely because it's 2 in the front, 5 in the ass. It is big. It is a big creature for 3. It is also going to replace itself, so basically it is a free card. You're just going to throw it out there, be like, boom, there's a dude, turn 3, you can't really attack me. I'm in a much better position, and you're drawing like probably a mana or something to keep your juices flowing. You got to keep gas in a green deck. That's the problem. A lot of green decks run out of gas too soon. This card makes sure you get there on time. We got Eternal Witness. This dude is pretty goddamn good because it'll grab artifacts, anything out of your pile. Amazing card, like absolutely stupid nuts. I would run 4 of these guys. I just have them grabbing each other out of the pile or out of the graveyard and just help me out all sorts of ways. You can bounce them, get all tricky. Amazing card. I shouldn't really have to explain why that's so good. You can get infinite removal with Beast Within. I mean, it's stupid. What else? This is one of the cards that I love drawing with, you know, one of my other, you know, draw card spells with my Visionaries. Is because this guy will get you an untapped forest out of your pile. There's like nothing in Standard that'll get you untapped forests anymore. So that guy is completely worth it. He is amazing. I play all of them. This is the one Briar Pack Alpha. He can flash in, do some crazy blocking. He'll block a 4/4 by himself. He'll block, you know, a 5/5 if you need him to. That's just a good old-fashioned removal spell for a 5/5. Costs a shit ton if that's what you're doing with it. But he can also pump somebody else on your field so you can get 2 blocks in. That's generally how I run him. He can also get a couple points of damage in on somebody that they don't block. So he's good either way, but he really shines in a blocking scenario on your block step. Erratic Portal, this is the star of the deck. This is the engine that drives everything that you're going to do. You're going to keep bouncing the majority of your guys. That's pretty much all it's for. But on turn 5, if you drop this guy and they're tapped out, you will be able to bounce one of their dudes. But that is a mistake that they will learn from, and they will not make it again. They learn their lesson pretty quickly once you drop Portal down on them. And when I'm playing against this deck, I'm constantly afraid of Portal when I tap down all my mana from turn 5 on. Like, when I tap down, I'm like, they're probably going to Portal me. And it never fails. This card shows up and does what it does. Natural Order is amazing because you're going to be able to get your huge dudes out on turn 4 by getting rid of one of those 1/1s. That's why I run so many small bodies in this deck, is because they get you to this late game where you are just super powerful. This is an amazing card. We got freaking monkeys dying left and right. We got freaking majestic cheetahs. It's crazy. I run both of them. It's fantastic. You're never going to draw this card and be sad. Devin Javin. He's got haste. It jumps back out of your graveyard every time you cast 2 creature spells, which happens frequently in this build, but not as much as you think. But he's still fantastic. That's 4 damage that they are not going to be ready for. We got Wolfbriar Elemental. This is just fodder for your bounce tricks. I mean, you cast this guy with the multi-kicker, leave 1 open. At the end of their turn, on their end step, you bounce that guy back, play him all over again. Beautiful things start happening. 6 Slime, run both of them because I love them. I mean, cutting that 3rd one was tough for me. Like, I'm sad that that one guy's upstairs, but I only need 2. You draw this stain all the goddamn time, so I'm fine with there only being 2. Overrun is fantastic. This just wins you the game. Read it. It's great. You want this in your deck. There are times when this isn't going to do it, when you don't have enough dudes out or something, where it could be kind of a dead turn when you draw it if you're top decking. But it's a solid damn card. One of the best sorcerer speed pumps ever. Gives you trample as well. Never forget that. Stinger Fling, I run both of them, which a lot of people would say is stupid, but like I said, I do not have a way to interact with flyers by and large. This guy will kill one when he comes into play, and his gigantic ass will ensure that he continues to block anybody that tries to come in on me, flying-wise. Thragtusk is one of the best cards in Standard right now, so you better believe that it is one of the best cards in this game. If this guy resolves, you are never going to be disappointed in what he does for you. At the very least, you're getting 5 life, and after that, you're going to get your 3/3 as well. I run all 3 of them, which, you know, created some difficult cuts, but that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to make those tough calls. This card I run because it is there. It keeps you from losing, and it keeps you from losing long enough to get something going generally. I've never dropped this card and been sad about it. At the very least, it is a 7/7 Trampler, which is great for me, great in my book. And at the most, it completely shuts down mono red. They gotta like triple down on spells to kill this son of a bitch. Not to mention the fact that if you hold on to one of your giant growths, you can still trick them out of 4 solid spells. I've done that time and time again. They'll be like, burn, burn, burn. I'll be like, giant growth, you still lose. So it's fantastic. I mean, this card is great just because it is great. I mean, it is good enough for this pile, definitely. Plus, you know, if you got your portal, you can bounce it back to you. There's a lot of stuff they'll drop down anymore that unmakes this guy, something like that, where it's a little shady, it's a little sketchy to play him anymore in the new format, but he's still fantastic. And finally, my big fat fatty that I almost always grab with Natural Order is going to be 8 damage screaming at their faces. I hate having this guy in my opening grip. I hate having this guy pretty much in a lot of scenarios. That I can't cast him, but if I get to just ramp into him on turn 4, I am skipping all day. He has haste. Just read haste, and he cannot be removed. Once he's on the field, they gotta wrath his ass or block him. Wish he had Trampley Tramps. Wish this deck had Rancor, because that would be astounding to Rancor this son of a bitch up. Make him a 10. Woo! 10 on turn 5, there's nothing wrong with that at all. That is my 60 for this freaking pile. It is stupendous, if I do say so myself. Got a lot of creatures up there, as you can see. It's a very aggressive deck, actually. Like I said, though, a lot of these matches are going to run long because your aggression peters in. It's kind of a drizzle and then a downpour and then a deluge of death upon their faces. It's pretty good deck. It was one of my favorites for a long time. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. This was a really long video. That's why I was talking so fast. I kind of knew that it would be. I hope you enjoyed my random mutterings about one match that happened one time when I told you about the multicolor deck. But that is just one of the demonstrations of how this can shut down some of the top tier, and I'm using frickin' quotation marks around that, decks in the format. This guy is a powerhouse in his own right, and he's going to get you out of some scrapes. Very fun to play. We'll be getting into some gameplay in just a minute. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out my channel. I have Let's Plays on there too, you guys. Check out those Let's Plays, please. Mega Man Night, you know you love Mega Man. Go watch that shit right now. Stop this video after it's done, after I sign off, and go check out my channel. It's a lot of fun over there. Anyway, thanks a lot for checking this video out, you guys, and I will see you next time.